أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يفعل ذلك عدوانا وظلما فسوف نصليه نارا وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا. Dear friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I recited Surah An-Nisa Ayat number 30. So Allah said, whatever Allah said in the previous ayat, this is connected with that one. The commands of Allah which have been conveyed to us. So Allah said the person who is to follow those one completely and fully, those people will get Allah's will and Allah will be happy with them. But the people who will deny them, who will not in a position to act upon Allah's commands, who deviate and cross the limits of Allah, those people, they must understand that Allah has prepared special fire for them and they will be burned in that one. It is more easy for Allah to throw in the hellfire. We read this ayat, we will understand more better inshallah. So Allah said, وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, and the person who will do it, udwanan. Udwan mean aggression, like crossing the limits of Allah, transgressing. وَظُلْمًا, and injustice. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا, and a person who is doing it with aggression and injustice. So it means what commands of Allah we received in the previous ayat. You can see that Allah said, you are not allowed to consume the wealth and belonging of others illegally. So without their consent, without their permission, is haram for you, is not lawful for you. Similarly, if you are doing a trade and transaction, you must have consent of each other. Like mutual consent is very important. And suicide is not allowed. So these were the commands of Allah in the previous ayat. So previous ayat Allah said these are three commands and if you are not to follow them, then you must be prepared yourself for the hellfire, because Allah will burn you in that. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا, and a person who is doing it with aggression and injustice, فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نَارًا, we will burn that person in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا, and it is very easy for us. So Allah said. So keep in mind that if a person who occupy others' wealth, belongings without lawful way, so that person must be ready for the hellfire, because that is waiting for that person. Because Allah said you are not allowed to consume the wealth and belongings of others, but you have to look after rights and responsibilities, because all the rights of people, human rights, are very important. You have to fulfill them with responsibilities. Very important. Because if you are violating the rules, regulations of Allah in relation to human rights, and you are transgressing them, then you must be ready for Sawfa Nuslihi Nara, so Allah will burn you in the hellfire. If you are Muslim and you understand that you are following, Muslim is that person who following Islam and following Sharia. So you must understand Islamic Sharia completely and fully, so that your life activities, the whole time of your life, must be spent under the guidance of Islam within the limits of Sharia. If you are violating Sharia rules and regulations, then you must be ready for Sawfa Nuslihi Nara. Allah will burn you in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. Allah said, it is very easy for me to do with you this. So to do with you mean to throw you in the hellfire. The person who is dishonest in trade and transaction must be ready for hellfire. The person who is holding in order to get more profit with the rise of prices, then he will open up his go downs before the people, so that he or she can get more profit or more margin, must be ready for the hellfire. Similarly, the people who are taking undesirable profits of their commodities, they must be radiant. The people who are accomplishing monopoly in the trade business, they must be ready. Allah said, فَسَوْفَ نُسْلِيهِ نَارًا. So Allah said, be ready, we will burn you in the hellfire. Similarly, the people who are distributing the properties after the death of their father, and in their distribution they ignore their sisters and also small children who are orphans, and sometimes they are just to take the share of the orphans unjustly, so must be ready. Allah said, فَسَوْفَ نُسْلِيهِ نَارًا. It is special command of Allah that you who are doing this type of injustice will be thrown in the hellfire. Similarly, the people who are doing adulteration, who are doing mixing, like something they are selling, for example, selling the red pepper, but they are putting in that the red powder of wood. So similarly, they are selling the milk but putting water in it. So mixing of these things, cheating. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ghasha falaysa minna." The person who is cheating us, who is cheating, that person is not from my ummah. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will not accept that person at the day of judgment. Similarly, some people, they are not to give the dowry to their wife. Even they eat up that one also. They must be ready for hellfire. The people who are thieves, robbers, and also the people who stole the money of the government, they have authorities, being minister or some officers, and they stole the government money, the public money, public resources. They must be ready. فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نَارًا. Allah said, we will burn you in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And it is very easy for me to do it, Allah said. Similarly, in the trade and business who are using the interest and also who are not fulfilling their promise and swear by Allah for wrong things, for telling lies, and also witnessing false way, so they must be ready for the hellfire also. Sometimes some people, in order to control the property of other people, they try to kill them so that if the person will die, the property of that person will come to me because I will be the owner of that. So I will be successor of the property, I will get that one. This way, so the person who is killing the other person, in order to receive the property and belongings of that person, so that person must wait for Sofa Nusli Nara. Hellfire is waiting for that person. Similarly, in this ayat you can see وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا. Udwan mean the person who is transgressing, like who is going out of the Sharia limit. So those people, for Sofa Nusli Nara, must be ready for the hellfire. Allah said, I will burn them there. Like some people, they take the woman with them through mobile phone. They try to make friendship, and then they use them sexually and then take them from their house. Even that is the daughter of someone or sister of someone or wife of someone. So they take it from the house because of sexual lust, and they must be ready. For Sofa Nuslihi Nara, Allah said, we will burn them in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And it is very easy for me to do it. Some people, they are rich people, or they have big influence. With their influence, they try to transgress the lower level people, poor people, and also they use their girls or women for sexual lust and take their money or take their resources for their own need, and use those people to do compulsory work by force without pay. So these type of people must be ready for Sofa Nuslihi Nara. So Allah said, I will burn them in the hellfire. Don't worry, this is a little bit time in this world. Then they have to be ready for that. Similarly, the justice of this world, you can see some as Chief Justice, some as Justice of Court, Supreme Court, High Court, Session Court, some other court. They are justice. Some justice, they are doing the decisions unjust way. So So they must be ready for Sawfa Nuslihi Nara. Allah said, so I will burn you in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And it is easy for me to do it. Be ready. Similarly, some people, they are not to look at halal haram. Even something is doubtful, they eat or drink or they don't feel it. Similarly, you have seen the people who are taking bribery. Allah said, Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Ar-Rashi wal Murtashi kilahumma fi nar. But they are ready to go into the nar. Bribery, cheating. They like it. So be ready then. Allah said, فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ nara. So no problem. Allah said, we will throw you in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And it is easy for me to do with you it. Similarly, some people in this world, they become arrogant, they become proud, they pretend and show off themselves. And then they spoil the respect and regard of other people through backbiting and blaming and telling lies, and through different type of tactics they use it. Don't worry, they must be ready for the hellfire. The people who are not to give expenses which are needed for the family, like wife and children, so they must be ready, because they are not following what Allah and Holy Prophet ﷺ commanded, then must be ready for the hellfire. Some people, they are supporting LGBT, sexual lust satisfaction by different way, just beyond the limit of Sharia. So they must be ready for the hellfire. For Sawfa Nuslihi Nara. Allah said, we will burn them in the hellfire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And it is easy for Allah to do it. Be careful. This way, you must be careful, be merciful on small children, and respectful to the old people. And try to learn Islam completely and fully. Look at Holy Quran and Sunnah of Holy Prophet ﷺ, and then look at the Sharia completely and fully. Learn that one, then act upon that one, and then follow that one in your real life, so that this life and the life hereafter should become better, and we must be successful in that. Allah give us tawfiq. Ameen.